Welcome back, Epic Cars. On today's episode, we are going to be working on the 55 Chevy two-door wagon, and I'm going to be installing an exhaust system. Because if you remember, it had Zoomies on it, and although they looked absolutely freaking cool, they had to go. So I'm putting on a regular exhaust system, going to try to tame it down a little bit, and get it ready for the rest of the body work and restoration. The first step's exhaust. Here we go. 55 Chevy. Piece of junk, but hey, you know me, I like junk. Epic Cars, baby. Alright, so I've got the jumper hooked up. This is a brand new jumper I just got, the NOCO Boost Pro. Saw it the other day on a couple of YouTube videos, and everybody says and swears by it that it's a great little device. The one I have, it just seemed like it was never big enough. This goes up to 10-liter diesels as far as what they say it can jump start. So putting the new exhaust system on real quick. We're fixing to have a 4th of July party, so I thought I'd throw that on real fast. It is from Shafer's Classic, and it's H-pipe 1955, 57, 2.5, smaller big blocks. One thing I'm going to do before we get the whole system installed is I'm going to start it with just it coming out of the header so you guys can hear what it sounds like. Sounds mean. Started right up. Backfiring going on, but she sounds good. I've got the reducers on the header coming off, and the reducers and this pipe, and there's two of them coming out, one on each side, are essentially the same size. So I took it from a 3-inch to a 2.5-inch on the reducer. Well, the reducer goes into this 2.5-inch exhaust system, and you can see it's a little flared there at the top, but it's not quite flared enough to go over that reducer adapter. So what I'm going to have to do is expand this out for both of these pipes to fit on there for the rest of the exhaust system to go on normally. Now, you can go out and purchase an exhaust expander. Basically goes in here and expands it out. I don't have one of those tools. They're fairly cheap. I think you can get them at Harbor Freight and so forth. But again, I don't have one, so I'm going to have to kind of do it a little differently. And typically what I do when I get into a situation like this is just cut in 2 slots right there and right there on that side. That allows you to have a little bit more flexibility in this pipe right here and to be able to expand it. I don't need very much. I mean, literally, I'm looking at maybe a 1/16 of an inch just to get over that reducer. Okay, so I got the pipe set up in a vise here, and you can tell I'm just going to use this cutoff wheel, angle grinder, whatever you want to call it, but I actually do have a small cutoff wheel in this grinder, so it'll work perfect just to put a cut right down here. And then I'll flip it over and put a cut right about there. So let's get started. So you can see I just made a small cut just so you can spread that out a little bit. Okay, so once you got the slots figured out, what I've used in the past, and you know, anything that's got a cone shape to it or a wedge shape to it's fine. This is an old baseball bat that I got in an auction that the back end was cracked, so I just kind of cut it off. And you just use it as basically a wedge to spread that out a little bit. Just stick it in there. Go ahead and start hitting it in. And you can tell when it starts spreading a little bit. Now getting it back out, sometimes the issue, so I'll have to stick something in there and kind of hit it that way. Alright guys, I'm running into a little bit of a problem. I've been trying not to go negative on this exhaust system. It looks like a really well built exhaust system, but I'm a little bit disappointed. You know, as I mentioned earlier, it didn't come with the reducers. Not a big deal. I ordered those separately. But I, for the life of me, cannot figure out how this whole thing pieces together. And I bought it for a 2-door wagon from Shafer's. It just does not line up whatsoever. I've wrestled with this thing for about 30 minutes trying to put things together, and there's just no way. Let me put this on. So that's how far down it sits in that position. Then I try to rotate it up, and it's sitting at a complete angle out to the passenger tire, and this is where the H-pipe is supposed to go. It just seems like this is not the right exhaust system whatsoever. Then I got the long piece and tried to fit it in here going over the back axle, and there's just hardly any room whatsoever. There's this gas tank in the way. I mean, it seems like it's in the right place. It looks like a stock gas tank to me, and I don't think you can go any further back because that's where the spare wheel goes. Let me pick this up and show you guys. There's everything. Gas tank. You know, it looks like it's molded to this spare tire well. And as you can tell, right up in there, there's just hardly any room whatsoever to get an exhaust system over that axle. You've got the bump stop right there in the frame, so essentially you could go, you know, right there but it's, man, that's really tight and close, and you can see the frame rail goes down in there that prevents you from really getting it that far out. So I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm kind of at a stopping point, I guess. I'm just gonna maybe have to custom build this thing. I wanted the exhaust tips coming all the way out to the back, but that pipe right over there is just not working. I cannot get it to fit. It just doesn't seem right. So I don't know if they sent me the wrong exhaust system. So maybe I'm bad mouthing it, and maybe it was my fault in ordering the wrong system. But I'm just having all kinds of heck with this. So I'm just going to wing it and do a custom system. All right, guys. So I'm going to not cut up that existing exhaust system. I got to thinking about it, and it's just too nice of an exhaust system to cut up in pieces. So I've got a good muffler shop here local. I'm going to run up and get some 48-inch long, 2.5-inch flared on one end. That way I have pieces that I can cut and kind of put together the way I want. I might get a couple of 45s in there because I'd still like to install the H-pipe. And in order to install the H-pipe coming off the headers, the headers are about 6 inches too wide for that to come down to the H-pipe, the width of the H-pipe. So rather than cutting the H-pipe and putting a section in there to extend it out, figured I'd just get some 45s made and allow me to get a little bit more of a, you know, bring it in a little bit so I can put that H-pipe on and then the straight pipe into a muffler, and then I'm just going to dump the mufflers right in front of the rear axle. I don't like that. It sounds great, don't get me wrong, but I would rather have the exhaust pipes coming out the back. I think when you have a good tucked 2.5 to 3 inch exhaust pipe just peeking out underneath the rear bumper or on the sides, I think that looks really good. But in my case, it just doesn't look like it's going to work because of the clearance. So if you have a two-door wagon, or maybe a Nomad, a 55, 50 through 57 two-door wagon or Nomad, I've got a good exhaust system that may or may not fit. I'm not real sure, but hey, I'll sell it to you for a good price. Well, the guys at the muffler shop were in a bad mood today or something. They just didn't want to earn some business, I guess. Maybe I made them mad when I walked in on their lunch. I have no idea, but they wanted to charge me 150 bucks for some sections of 2.5-inch pipe and some elbows, and I was like, nope, not gonna happen. So came down here to the local O'Reilly's, and they just happened to have some 24-inch sections of 2.5-inch pipe that was already flared. So I was gonna get 4 feet of it just so I'd have some extra and I could cut off where I needed. 24 will work, I can make it work, and they had the elbows too. So for less than, I don't know, 35 bucks, I was able to get everything that I needed. And for whatever reason, the muffler guys were in a bad mood. So maybe Corona's got them down, I don't know. I tried to smooth talk them and be charming and all that stuff as usual. I mean, like, they've been really good to me before, but today, man, they were in a bad mood. So I don't know, woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Well, she's not perfect by any means, but she's mine. I put it together using a bunch of different parts, some stuff from the parts store and the original system, and it looks good. I don't like the fact that it's dumping right before the rear axle, but it is what it is. We talked about that earlier. Now it's time to hear it start and run. bad. Sounds pretty good. Now I need to set the timing and about 100 other things, but at least the exhaust is done. One more project off the list.